This week's show, we're talking speed and efficiency, right? How fast can I possibly get in a new home, relocation new to the area? Fantastic idea there that has to go well inside the context of reality. And then, how many clients can you actually take on a month and still retain the 5-star experience? Solopreneurs versus team, coming right up. What's happening, gang? Another episode of the AskJesse How Show, the hashtag show, where we get a chance for first-time home buyer. Actually, it doesn't have to be first time. It's just home buyers, home sellers. By throwing out the hashtags on the internets, we'll track them down. Greg will track them down, actually. I don't even know what the questions are going to be, and that helps to allows for a more authentic response, right? There's some value in that, you'd hope. So let's get into this.
All right. Christopher Cesar.
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 All right, Chris.
I'm trying to pronounce it properly.
All right.
Pushed it a little bit. He says, I'm moving to San Diego for a new job. How fast can you get me into a home?
Ooh, it's almost like a challenge. Chris is bringing the heat right now for a little Ask Jesse How show. Jesse don't know how. How about that for an answer? Hey, seriously though, and let's even take a half step back. Everybody's been kind of grumbling about the economy for a long time, and San Diego's kind of having its own little micro challenge problems. We hear about like some of the big, Fortune whatever number crews kind of hopping out, Qualcomm's kind of shutting down some stuff. Like you hear a lot. I don't know about you, brother, but I'm talking to a lot of cats that seem highly educated, highly qualified that are coming in town. So I'm feeling good about our local economy right now. And who knows, maybe Chris, maybe you're one of those, brother. So here's where the rubber's going to meet the road when it comes to the real estate game. We are in a shortage of inventory right now. This is not something that you've probably heard for the first time on this show. You need about 6 months, they say, for economic homeostasis for about as many of the people that want to move in here for homes to meet them at sort of an equanimity, right? We haven't been there in a hot minute. We've been trailing at about 60 days for a pretty good stretch of time, and then more recently, I think we're down even under that. I heard last report we're basically somewhere in the 30s, which could be true. I guess it's market to market, right? So there's some generalizations that are occurring, but what that basically means, especially right now, is there's a lot of buyers and there's not a lot of homes to go around. So I would say that the answer to that, believe it or not, is not something I'm going to be able to share with you. It's going to be more about you. Like your commitment, your intensity to get yourself into a home quickly is directly proportional to how you behave once this conversation begins. So if you can find the right group to match up with and you guys sit down, you come up with a solid plan, you get yourself all your ducks lined up in a row, pre-approval in place, proof of funds, sketch out the little story of how you got here. And then there's all kinds of other little games and stuff we like to play for the buyer's blueprint to be able to get yourself a little competitive advantage. And then really from there, like assuming all that's true, right? Like boom, then the game begins. And how that, like the choices you make from right there in terms of intensity are directly proportional to how quick that's going to go down for you. Okay? So I like to say, if you want to be at home in 30 days, Chris, then we're going to be at home in 30 days because how aggressively you managed. For us, that's step 4 of the 6-step process. And then conversely, a lot of people we meet, we're still hanging out with them a year later. And not that there's anything wrong with that. They just have a different pace about it. And our goal is just to meet you where you're at, right? So if you want to be intense, boom, we got you. 5-to-1 ratio with our team when it comes to buyers side of things. So we're never going to get in the way of your process. That's how we roll. And then similarly, we're also not going to berate you, over phone calls all the time. Like, hey man, what's up? Where are we at? How come we're not in the car? Because we know everybody's got their own pace and rhythm and our job is to meet you where you're at. So guess what, Chris? This one's on you, brother. Depends on you.
All right, so for the next question, we're going to piggyback on top of that. Ben Thompson, he found us on Yelp, and I saw all the nice reviews we had, and he was wondering, how many clients are you representing right now, and can you even take on one more?
Ben. It's very fourth, very fourth. There's a word there, probably a right word. bzz, 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 not happening. Ben, good question. How about that?
There you
go. The reason why it's a good question is because most agents run on what's called a solopreneur type of style, where basically it's one guy or it's one girl. And now they've got some support staff that they can kind of tie into, but usually it's more like that support staff is kind of borrowing time from the rest of the people they're also helping. And so kind of, you kind of get parsed in as they get to you. But really it's one person kind of running the whole show. Now, I don't know about you guys in your own life, but the jack of all trades and the master of none usually doesn't work well when when the game is mastery. Okay? So the way that we've decided to structure this conversation is we're a team. Okay? So basically we take, and I just mentioned this a second ago, this is probably the parlay, is we have a 5-to-1 ratio here. So each one of those 5 Greenhouse Group team members is inside of their own unique ability, their own contribution to that conversation, and operating independently but also interdependently so that the one person on the other side of that equation is getting a 5-star experience. Okay? So you're right. There is definitely a threshold of how many people that you can handle at one given time. But for us, luckily, we haven't met that number yet because we're not running as one person. When I was one person, everybody starts out as one person. When I was one person, it was 10 for me. I couldn't have more than 10 clients at a time. That was my maxo. Like if I had more than 10 people at a time going, then somebody wasn't having a 5-star experience. So luckily, because we basically quintupled that ratio, we haven't had luckily, I guess, we haven't had that scenario where that thing is buckled yet. So I guess we'll find out one of these days. But as of right now, I mean, we're probably helping about what, 60 buyers?
Yeah.
Would you say that's about fair?
Probably all right.
About 60 buyers. And I'd like to think that everybody's having a 5-star experience, right? So far so good. And we'd love for that to be true for you. So, invite you to come down and check us out, learn a little bit more about how we work. We can learn more about whether we think we're a good fit for you, and take it from there. Ben it was. Is that it?
That's it.
That's our 2. Awesome. So, gang, now's your turn. Thank you for playing along, those of you who did, Ben and Christopher. But next week's for you. So go ahead, hashtag AskJesseHow, hashtag, HomeBuyerFAQs, hashtag HomeSellerFAQs, hashtag Greg's shirt is blue.
It's good, yeah.
Anything that gets you in the room. We want to get your questions answered next week, so thanks for playing along.